We've all had that moment, right? You send a long message, 3, maybe 4 lines, heart open, hoping for connection, and what comes back? A single emoji, a thumbs up, or worse, the dreaded scene at 22:14. And suddenly your mind explodes with stories. They're ignoring me. They don't care. I don't matter. But maybe they were just tired, or cooking, or stuck in their own storm. A woman that I coach came to me with that mix of hurt and confusion that only a close friendship can create. One of her best friends, someone she trusted deeply, had suddenly gone quiet. And yes, she admitted she had made a mistake. Nothing malicious, nothing intentional. Just one of those human slips we all regret afterwards. She reached out, apologized, tried to make contact. But the silence on the other side cut deeper than the mistake itself. There was one reply, a short text saying they could meet for a drink, and then nothing. No follow-up, no warmth, just a void that felt louder with every passing hour. After a few days of sitting in her own storm, anger, sadness, disappointment, she spilled it out to me. We were besties. If she's really my friend, she could at least say something, anything, even just a small message. I could feel the weight of her words. It wasn't only about this moment. It was echoing old wounds, those scars we all carry from times we felt unseen or abandoned. I told her gently that sometimes the best thing you can give in a friendship is space. That love is not always holding tighter. Sometimes it's letting go for a while. She nodded, but I could see it still burned inside her. A few days later she came back, her voice even heavier. If she would just say she needed time, I'd understand. Why can't she say that? The drama had deepened, and with it, her frustration. So I asked her if there had been any contact at all. She sighed. Yes, on WhatsApp. But she didn't say what I needed to hear. There it was. The truth. It wasn't that her friend said nothing. She just hadn't said the right thing. The word she was desperate for. If she can't even say she needs more time, what kind of friendship is that? She said, voice trembling. I reminded her that most people struggle in conflict. Everyone has their own way of coping, and silence, though painful, can be someone's shield. But still, the sadness clung to her. If she'd just tell me she needs time, I would understand. But this way, I feel invisible. So I asked softly, and what exactly did she text you? She looked down at her phone, almost embarrassed. I asked if we were still meeting, and she just replied, "Don't push me." I smiled gently and leaned in. Isn't that just another way of saying, I need space? Let me think. Give me some time. Her eyes widened, almost in shock. No, she said firmly, while her face, her body, every part of her screamed the opposite. Yes. So I asked her, why not admit you're sad? To yourself first. Why keep judging her for not speaking in the way you expect? Is friendship really about controlling how the other responds? Or is it about staying present, even when it doesn't go your way? There was a pause, a moment of honesty opening. Then I asked, how do you handle conflict? She didn't even hesitate. Terribly. I'm awful at it. And then the silence returned. This time a softer one. She lifted her eyes, her voice quieter now. And if my friends judged me for that, I'd be devastated. I wouldn't even call it friendship anymore. She sat there, almost frozen in the silence that followed her own words. You could see a ripple through her, like someone who had finally spoken a truth out loud and was surprised by how heavy it sounded. Her hands, which had been waving nervously before, now rested flat on her lap. Her shoulders dropped a little, and her eyes, normally sharp and restless, softened just enough for a glimpse of the little girl underneath the grown-up mask. It was as if the room itself leaned in, that fragile space where you realize this isn't about WhatsApp messages anymore. This is about old scars, about the ache of not being answered as a child, about the fear of being pushed aside again. No matter how many years have passed, you could almost hear the echo of all the other moments in her life when silence felt like rejection. Her voice, when it came back, was quieter now. I just want a matter, she whispered. Not to the whole world. Not in some grand way. Just to her friend. Just to be noticed when she reaches out with trembling hands. And in that moment, you didn't need to be a coach or an expert. You only needed to be human enough to feel it. The raw, simple, universal need to be seen. The tension in the air wasn't about blame anymore. It was about longing. A longing every one of us knows, even if we hide it well. To send out a signal and hear something back. To reach across the silence and find another heartbeat that says, yes, I see you. Yes, you matter. And maybe that's what friendship really is. Not the endless explanations, not the perfect timing, not even the right words. Real friendship doesn't rush to judge because judgment is too easy. It waits. It allows. It lets the other drift a little, trusting they'll find their way back in their own time. Because love, whether between friends, partners, or family, isn't about keeping score. It's about forgiving, about loosening your grip, about letting the other be who they are even when it hurts. Love doesn't force. It doesn't demand. It simply stays close enough to be found again. And when that moment comes, whether tomorrow or years from now, it'll be there. Quiet, steady, without conditions, as it should be.